Rob, you talked in the aftermath of Leicester that you're going to give a different group of players their chance now to impress. But let's reflect first on those first 2 games. A lot of game time into a lot of young players and a lot of positives.
Yeah, really pleased. I mean, how some of those guys have really stood. I mean, I don't mind telling the guys I've been really impressed with the front row. I think the front rows who played in both games have done exceptionally well for us. And gave us a real pressure point in both games. Obviously, Sam Maunder, for a guy, first year at school, first year at uni, I thought did exceptionally well for us. I thought Tom Henderson looked real solid, like a real good, solid senior member of the group. Max Badilli looked kind of elusive at times, and we also saw guys like kind of Tom White, who was playing for North Beverton this time last year, and he's starting to look like he can play a little bit. And obviously seeing the new players getting some game time, guys like obviously Stan South and the 2 new South African guys, Yanis and Jacques, getting time has been fantastic for us, and they all look like they're going to be very good players for us.
And obviously this new group now, they go to Worcester on Friday night, and notoriously a tough place to go.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing for us now, because we're shifting into a largely a different group of players. The guys who played against Leicester, a lot of those guys have got this week off. We're kind of semi-off, and they're doing a little bit of conditioning, but on the whole they're managing their own time. The guys who are playing this week against Worcester had last week off running into the Leicester game, and again just manage their own time, because I think we're looking at the season and we want to be fresh and excited about it. We don't want to be kind of worrying too much about game time, whatever. We want the guys to be fresh and enjoying themselves, and we feel we've hit the balance really well between working hard and giving them some time to refresh. But now the kind of foot's got to hit the pedal, so to speak, and that these guys are now got to step up and they've got to put a performance in where they have a tough pre-season.
I was going to say, equally, even though it's their first game, you've got to ramp it up now. You're only 2 weeks away.
That's right. They've got this week, they've got next week to prepare for a big game here against Harlequins at home, which can do 2 things. It can give us a great start to the Premiership, or it can give us a start we wouldn't be happy with, because there is a reality. We wouldn't be happy losing a home game first up in the Premiership. So, we've got some real targets right in front of us over the next 3 weeks. It's going to be interesting and exciting, and everything that we could really want now is right on top of us.
Territory and possession in both those first 2 games, you had plenty of it last week, not quite the killer edge. Is that something you've addressed this week?
Well, yes and no, because there's a reality to it that we probably went into that game worried about 2 or 3 areas, and one of them was probably how we'd stand up under some good line-out pressure, because Leicester picked a decent line-out crew, and they put our line-out under pressure, and probably also whether our young half-backs would manage the game, both the territory and how we use possession, and those 2 things probably did hurt us a little bit. Now that's nobody's fault, that's just guys needing experience and needing that time on the field. They'll all be way better for it, and that's what you've got to decide to do when you give those guys the opportunity. We've always done it in the past. Henry Slade and Jack Noel and Luke Cowan-Dickey and Sam Hill and Dave Hughes, they all went onto the field and made those same kind of mistakes. So it's not an issue for us, but we think we'll largely address it with that kind of change up in experience on the field.
I was going to say, that senior experience. At the same time though, you have to emphasise to keep banging home the things that make you a successful side, don't you?
Exactly, that's right, and that's why I think the key things for those young guys, and it's all we've really covered in the review, is I think most of them probably know where they could have done things a little bit better or a little bit different. And it's just an awareness that actually this now shows you why those things are important. Don't forget, on top of that, it wasn't just some of the young guys who made mistakes. We did have senior players dropping the ball, or making errors, or giving away penalties, or not keeping possession when we needed to, and those kind of things just compounded together to make the game hard for us to win. Because I would describe the Leicester game as more like that we made it hard for ourselves to have the opportunity to win. I thought Leicester were very competitive, but a lot of the things that we would traditionally not do, because they make it easier for you to win the game, we kind of did. And so the game became harder and harder for us to win. And that, coupled with that early score from Leicester, kept their noses in front until the end when they finally pulled away. But it was an important 80 minutes for us in a lot of ways. And I still think now, in hindsight, I can't see us looking at running the group any differently, because actually the proof they're putting be over the next 2-3 weeks.
We've seen training there now. The boys are very buoyant and jubilant and that, but this is where it cranks up a bit, as we said, and they've got to knuckle down, haven't they?
Yeah, and I think everyone's now got to accept there's a period in pre-season when everyone has to move on from going, it's just about game time and getting yourself ready. So actually it starts to become about which group are going to represent the club in the first Premiership game, and that's what we've got to start seeing now. We've got to start seeing the guys who want to hold their hand up as if be part of that first 15, that first 23, and that's the pressure we've got to be prepared to put ourselves under. It's certainly something we're going to talk about over the next 10 days.
History tells us Worcester normally very strong up front and some lively backs. Are you expecting more of the same this week?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, we've had some real contests with them. I think Stilton, I think they were the last Premiership team to win here. So we've had some real contests with them, and I think it's one of those challenges where we've got to make sure that we get ourselves right more than anything else. I think that's what pre-season is about. It is about focusing on yourselves and getting yourself right. We feel we're in a pretty good place. We genuinely do. We're going down the line on some non-available players because it's funny. We're getting through 2-3 weeks of this Premiership Cup now. And actually, it means guys are becoming more available and not less available. So a big focus for us will be to get some genuine, intense game time into ourselves. Obviously, look to have a really good performance, but also obviously look to get a result that will give us an opportunity to keep moving through this competition.
Injury-wise, a lot of players seem to be coming back, but just the right time for you now as well. It's looking good.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of guys just finishing off their kind of last bits of rehab stuff. So when you're looking at there and you see Johnny Hill and Sam Simmons and Stu Townsend all running around on the field, starts to feel pretty good. Tom Price is starting to do a little bit more. Sam Hill is doing a bit more. Cuthie's doing a bit more. You're seeing the group out there on the field, and that's all really good for us because we actually need and want to have as strong a group as we can at the start of the season. We kind of aimed for this a little bit, in that we took the opportunity to give guys operations and little bits of recovery stuff that would hopefully get them there or thereabouts at the start of the season. We're just starting to see that may well become a possibility for us.
Rob.